Hello and welcome. Did you miss me? Today, we're here to talk about something incredible. I know what you're thinking. Gee whiz, Sticky, that thing you do with your tongue is incredible. But actually, we're here to talk about something else. Or should I say, someone else. Reah of Thorolund, more specifically. We've met her on our way through the Firelink Shrine when we were upgrading our Morning Star to the Divine Morning Star. And we learned that she's on a mission with her two companions to seek out kindling. But it's interesting. The mission of an undead cleric is to seek out kindling, but thou who art undead art chosen. And art we not undead? And is not Reah also art undead? So then why is her mission to seek out kindling? It perplexes me. So then let's explore a little bit further. Her full title is Reah of Thorolund. So if we look at the world of Dark Souls, it's sort of understood that the House Thorolund serves under Gwyn, Gwyn being the main lord of the land, delegated out to other people, Thorolund being the religious order led by a character we may be familiar with from our first episode, Allfather Lloyd, who made many advancements in the field of miracles, so much so that there's actually a talisman named after him, the Lloyd's Talisman, which, when used, prevents undead from healing. But that's a strange artifact to be present in a monastery of undead clerics, right? Unless Allfather Lloyd wasn't an undead cleric. Allfather Lloyd was a cleric who led other clerics on a holy mission to hunt the undead. So now we look at Reah of Thorolund with new eyes. I mean, talk about an OG whiz. She's with her companions in a world where the undead are corralled to the north to await the end of days in the undead asylum. But wait a second. If we examine then what she's doing on her mission, she's not being corralled to the undead asylum. She's being escorted to the catacombs. So maybe we'll find more answers about what's going on in this strange world. Reah absolutely believes she's seeking out kindling. I truly believe she is pure of heart and that she is pursuing a noble mission in her mind. She means to serve the divine with her actions. And I believe that through her faith, she actually does so. As we will explore more. When we arrive in the catacombs, what we find is Pinwheel, and he's doing something strange. I won't talk about what he's doing right now, but he's definitely, it's like when you walk in on someone and they close their computer really fast. It's like, oh, better. And that made me suspicious when I first encountered him, because Pinwheel isn't really a character who talks a lot, but he drops a mask, and on his mask it says he's a necromancer who stole the power of the Gravelord. The Gravelord? Well, that would be the Gravelord Nico, who administers death upon all beings, right? So an entity that stole the power of the Gravelord, what power is that? I suspect in this instance it is a Promethean power. It is the power of death over the undead, which is sort of nuanced, but essentially what I mean by that is that it removes Nico's capacity to administer death to the undead, and that's why Nico allows you to join his covenant, because if you're on Nico's side, he can rest assured that the undead won't rise against him, even in this dwindling age of fire. So let's talk about why Reah is being escorted to Pinwheel then, because here's a little spoiler. When we first encounter Pinwheel, it appears as though he's building a bonfire, and the fact that he drops the rite of kindling means that but the rite of kindling isn't what Pinwheel stole from Nico, and the reason we know this is because why would Nico need the rite of kindling? The rite of kindling is passed down among clerics, and it's imitated by the undead. So why then is the House Thorolund sending an undead cleric to seek out kindling? Oh my goodness. And they made it past the crow? Did you just ask about the crow? Well, I'd like to explain why this crow is not Velka. It's a little complicated, but I think the easiest way to do it is by referencing the other crows in the game. The other crow is Snuggly, I think. And then in Demon Souls, there's Sparkly. But essentially, these creatures are named for what they trade in. And so I refer to the nameless crow who speaks not as Sin, because I believe that the crow recognizes the dark sign on the undead, and that's what allows the crow to move the undead from one place to the other. Those moments of reflection while you're waiting in the nest to be carried off are intended for you to contemplate the sin that marks you as the accursed undead, which is the dark sign, allowing rebirth at bonfires anytime one reaches 0 health at the cost of all souls in humanity. This means that the crow acts as the ferryman between the Firelink Shrine and the Undead Asylum, and in doing so, is capable of moving the chosen undead. To draw a parallel, Charon doesn't talk, but we don't think he's Hades just because he's bringing souls down the river Styx. That is what this crow is. And the reason I say it's trading in sin is because the other crows trade when you put things in their nest. So being moved when you're in the nest of this crow, something marks you as the chosen undead, and that's why you're able to move back and forth. Otherwise, why aren't the other hollowed out undead being taken back and forth? It's because they've lost their humanity, therefore their dark sign isn't necessarily as potent as the chosen undead's. Meaning that the crow is looking the other way when Reah is escorted beyond them because the mission is different for Reah. And you see, the goddess Velka watches over everything. That's why I say she's not the crow. The goddess is watching the world. A world with one sin. The necromancer Pinwheel stealing the power of death from the Gravelord Nico. And then the House Thorolund sending an undead cleric down to the catacombs, not to truly seek out kindling, but because an undead cleric makes for quite a soul, if you don't mind me saying so myself. And for this, I'd like to read some item descriptions for you. We have the Estus Flask, an emerald flask from the Firekeeper's soul. She lives to protect the flame and dies to protect it further. Okay, fair enough. And then we got the Firekeeper's soul. Each Firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of her bonfire. This sentence is incredibly significant. This means that Firekeepers in and of themselves are not alive. They are merely an apparition because their bonfire is alive, and so long as that bonfire is alive, it draws in the souls of other but marked undead. Her soul is gnawed by infinite humanity and can boost the power of blah, 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 blah. It's a draw for infinite humanity. So when the Firekeeper's soul is offered to the flame through the rite of kindling, it draws the other humanity within that flame. Meaning that when we encounter Reah and her companions after, the hollowed out companions have had their humanity drained by Pinwheel as he's building this bonfire to then kindle with Reah's soul, thus making a new bonfire, which who knows why it's being made? It's not really explored or anything. And to be honest, I don't even know if any of this is true or if I'm just making it all up. But Reah, after you rescue her from the Tomb of the Giants, shows up in the Undead Parish. And it's interesting where you find her because the flow of time is distorted in this world. Should we not engage in jolly cooperation? And yet Reah sits at the altar where at the beginning of the game when we pass through this area, we find a Firekeeper soul. And who do we find beside the Firekeeper? The Baronike Knight. And let me tell you something. If ever I am drawn for all eternity to a single place, I will protect you, Reah. I will never let you perish. I will keep you safe from all harm. Petrus of Thorolund may have said that you're worthless without your family name, but I tell you what, without your family name, you are one of us. You are an undead, and you are worthy of my protection. And so, Reah of Thorolund, I ask you, will you join me on my quest? I don't know if we should kindle the first flame anymore. The Tomb of the Giants has me questioning things. I don't even know if Sen's Fortress is the right place to go after this. Maybe I'll find answers in New Anor Londo. But we killed the Moonlight Butterfly, and the crest of Artorias can't be that far off. So perhaps we ought to explore the... Well, Artorias' crest, he walked in the Abyss, right? Do you think the Abyss is going to have more answers for us than the Tomb of the Giants? I don't know. But I think we'll find out next time. Thank you so much for joining me this episode. Oh my goodness. I keep getting sidetracked. I have to show you my animals, so I'm sorry I didn't get to it in this episode. I'll do it tomorrow. So thank you so much for joining me. It's truly wonderful having you here, and I love you all so much. Okay, bye.